మహిళా సాధికారత సదస్సు కార్యక్రమం జరుగుతోంది. ఇప్పుడు ఆ కార్యక్రమాన్ని లైవ్ ద్వారా చూద్దాం.
And if we go back to our rich cultural heritage, there are enough references to women receiving equal rights and recognition. We have a history of celebrating women philosophers and saints such as Gargi, Maitreyi and others. Today we have more women representatives at the grassroots. Back in 2006, I think Bihar was the first among the states to have 50% reservation for women in the third tier of governance. Today about 21 states have reservation of 50% for women in local bodies. The country has about 14.5 lakhs elected women representatives in Panchayat Raj institutions. With the landmark women's reservation legislation passed in the new parliament building in 2023, I am certain that more women will be part of national leadership in times to come. This is women-led era of development. I would like to mention one person's contribution. Very few remember today Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia's vision on gender parity. During freedom struggle and after that, he always advocated. He repeatedly highlighted that just like caste or class oppression, discrimination of women is a societal curse and needs to be dealt with independently. He called for intervention to rectify discrimination in access to education, jobs, access to basic facilities, and many other areas. Many of these became central to his campaigns and the struggle for women emancipation during those days. However, we must also acknowledge that women have faced several barriers in their progress. And it's essential for politics to create a space for a more equal society and provide more opportunity. And I believe the committees at both national and state levels are playing an important role in ensuring these goals are achieved. Achieving these outcomes also requires efforts in easing regulations, amending legislations, and providing the right infrastructure, safety for women. Working towards such a structural reforms creates sustainable livelihoods that are critical not only for social development but also to achieve broader agenda of a developed India. The committees for empowerment of women at the national, the state level have a major role to monitor and nudge their respective governments in this direction. I am glad to note that today there is an integrated approach in addressing these barriers through a range of schemes across union ministries. Under the guidance of Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi, some of these have made significant structural changes in empowering women. For example, over 56 crore bank accounts have been opened under the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. More than half of these accounts belong to women. This has led to positive impact in assessing loans, promoting entrepreneurship for women. More than 70% of houses under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana have been allocated to women. The Namo Drone Didi scheme is empowering women in agriculture, and many of the states have done a landmark job in this empowering process of women. Programs for promoting financial inclusion among self-help groups have yielded successful results. Schemes for access to toilets and clean fuel have also positively influenced women's health. As the government expands its basket of schemes, it is important for the relevant committees to ensure that their benefits are evenly assessed across the country. Honorable members, political parties have different ideologies, but there is broad consensus that economic growth plays a pivotal role in improving quality of lives for crores of people. And there is no better example. I am in Andhra Pradesh. I must mention Honorable Chief Minister Naiduji, Chandrababu Naiduji's contribution. He has displayed remarkable and visionary leadership in creating the undivided Andhra Pradesh as a technology hub. But beyond creating technology hub back in the late 90s and 2000, it created a generation of young Indians who found new opportunities, and many young girls, majority of young girls too, found a path to